it's like you know, time slows down when you're over there because time moves slowly in a place where it's not like, it is high paced, right? But it's
in the motherland.
But it's not the same, right? Like people are walking everywhere. People are.
Yeah.
It's weird because I was kind of going off on a different tangent, but like appreciation of Mexico is that I explained to somebody that Mexico, or like this city, like especially our city Monterrey, like it never sleeps. Like I thought that when I would think of, oh, the city that never sleeps, and you think of New York, right? And I think of like, I think here, and I'm like, no, here in Houston, like we sleep, you know, we got about 3 hours where we sleep.
Yeah.
From 2.
It's quiet.
From 2 to 5. Right, 2 to 5 in the morning is when 2 to 5,
2 to 5,
2 to 5, 2 to
3
6,
to 6,
3 to
depending
6,
on the day.
Depending on the day, right?
Yeah,
Depending
because then after hour spots go hard.
Yeah,
on
they
Friday
do go
and
hard.
Saturday.
They do go hard. But like I think there are some times where like the city is quiet. There's like food places aren't open, things like that. But I think you go to Monterrey and you're driving around. I've gone clubbing in Monterrey. I've gone to these restaurants. That bitches is open. That you got people still waiting or like still eating at the taco stands. The taco stands got straight going. You know, like all of the stuff, and it's just like that city never actually sleeps. Like I think
Monterrey is the best city in Mexico. Maybe it might be.
I think there's a collective like opinion in Mexico when talking about cities. People don't necessarily like La Ciudad de Mexico because
it's a little dirty.
Because it's a little dirty, yeah, and it's like a little too rambunctious. Like it's just a little too much. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Monterrey is the second biggest city in Monterrey. In Mexico.
Second biggest, first prettiest though.
Yes. Well,
in terms of cityscape.
I'm sure
there's like little town like Guanajuato and Irapuato might be beautiful.
Pero those are like pueblos mágicos that are like obviously picturesque, beautiful cities, right? Even when we went to like, where did we go?
Saltillo.
Not Allende.
Did we go to San Miguel de Allende?
No.
But we went to Saltillo. It was close to Saltillo. I don't know where we went.
I don't know.
It was amazing.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? And like those places are like los mágicos, right? Like they're pueblitos, beautiful places, right? But like you think a city and like Monterrey is a beautiful city, right? And
it's gorgeous.
And it's like, mom took a landscape. She was. Yo, let me just kind of, now where they were talking about Hispanic heritage, mom and dad were in Mexico, right? For our grandfather's 90th birthday. Shout out to the Gramps.
Shout out to the
OG.
Patriarch.
Shout out to the OG.
In a good way. Don't be starting shit.
And they were invited to go to a somebody's like birthday or somebody's like celebration of something. They had a whole as cumbia band.
Fire.
En la Lázaro, bro. So se fueron al monte. They were like on the monte side.
Fire.
It was like land, like the street itself was so slanted, people couldn't even dance on it. But the cumbia was fucking fire, bro.
Next level.
I was like, yo, let's go. Like Celso Piña, they were playing it, and they had the whole vibe going. Mom took a picture, like a video of the city because they were so on top of the hill. There's no lights there.
Yeah.
So there's barely any lights there, only the lights from the houses. But she got like a panoramic shot of like Monterrey. You just see all the lights going down and like all this beautifulness. And mom was like, bro, like this is
magic.
The prettiest city I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, look, I come from.
You might be pushing it, but yeah, I see it.
For her.
Yeah, she ain't never been nowhere.
She ain't never seen these cities.
She ain't never been nowhere.
She ain't never been nowhere.
About to take her somewhere.
Like, we gotta go expose her to the world.
Like, I don't know, bro. I was on the French Riviera. Right. You know what I mean? And I saw what that looks like. I saw the mountains. I drove through. I was on a train from La Spezia, Italy, to Milan. And I don't know, bro. That shit was beautiful. It was next level, but I digress. You know what
I think that's the Italian Riviera.
I know. No, I was in the French Riviera for a second. But then I gave another example is I was also during La Spezia, and then I drove. I got on a train from La Spezia. It's like a 3 hour train ride to Milan.
Picturesque ass motherfucking places,
my
bro.
God, I was like, what is this? I am somewhere
different. You ate their food and you were like, "Es esto?"
And then I was so disappointed. So yeah, see, it don't match. Like, anyway, that's for don't get me started. I'm about to go on my whole rant because I hate y'all in Europe for doing that shit to me. I hate it. Y'all done conquered the whole world. Didn't bring back nothing. Didn't bring back nothing. Y'all touched every inch of this planet and y'all couldn't bring back none of the good shit. God, y'all fumbled the way y'all fumbled that bag so bad. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. I'm never gonna get Italian mole, but it's okay. The point I'm making is that is that I think we are so privileged about living in a place that subtly puts Hispanic, at least Mexican culture, at a high pedestal, that it feels like, in certain discourses, it feels like we're not appreciated, but it feels like they couldn't live without us.
Yeah.
So what I've reserved myself to now is I'm gonna try my best to spend the rest of Hispanic Heritage Month and maybe doing a couple episodes of Identity Crisis where we're not talking about the Mexican experience, and instead we'll highlight other parts of Hispanic culture that has nothing to do with Mexico. That may be like other.
I find it, other
groups, other. Is it ethnic groups or nationalities?
Other nationalities,
other nationality groups that may get looked over in this month because because Mexicans really outnumber a lot of these people. I'm sure it's different in Miami. I'm sure it's different in New York. And it goes
back to the idea that it's just like Mexico is so big. So like the fact that we have more Mexican immigrants as opposed to like Salvador, and Salvador is so small. Like El Salvador is so small that like you can't possibly have that many, right? But like, yo, pupusas go hard, bro. Like that shit.
They're not better than gorditas.
Damn, you gonna start that?
Yeah, pupusas or gorditas. Let's go. But pupusas are not better than gorditas. Don't play me.
I don't know, man. Cause like,
and arepas are not better than gorditas either. Don't start
where
with me.
Where are arepas from?
Colombia.
Colombia? What is that?
Arepas is like a type of. They're all in the same like vein. It's like corn masa with like some sort of like stuff inside.
My thing is like my thing. All right, well, we're gonna have to fact check this before I start talking to my ass, right? But Mexico had corn before those countries had corn, right? So
maize there's like 14 different
to Mexico.
Yeah, there's like 14 different types of corn that are specifically native to Mexico, and they're actually protected by the World Health Organization.
Yes, because it's essential to life.
No. It's not only protected in terms of like migration. Yeah. It's protected in terms of purity.
Yes.
Like this is such an important grain. It cannot go extinct.
Yes.
It has to remain in this form, and it's like 13 different types of actual corn.
Well, because in my thing is, it's like if that is the case, which
is like, bruh, like
let's go
fuck it up, Mexico, bro.
Let's go.
What does French have that's protected? Nothing. Julia Child. That's played out. We're not doing that.
I'm trying to think of like what is French. Your French cuisine ain't
the croissant.
The croissant.
Everybody can make croissants. Damn, you should find her. She found her whole ID. So anyway, I think that's where I'm landing on Hispanic Heritage Month.
I think Hispanic Heritage Month, like, yo, speaking of Hispanic Heritage Month,
look at this,
the tacos, bro. I think it is important to have a month. Well, not necessarily a month, but definitely to have or start the dialogue and the conversation of embracing other Hispanic heritages that we might not like, that we do seemingly overlook, especially in Texas, where it's just so easy to overlook the where I think it's just so easy to overlook other ethnicities, or better said, other nationalities.
Yeah.
Here, like those from El Salvador, Honduras, like Colombia, like even even Cuba. Like I get it, like all these different places that are like that maybe have like a higher representation in other cities of the world, but here specifically, we're talking in Texas and Houston, as big and diverse as we are here in Houston being one of the most diverse cities in the States, apart from like obviously like New York and LA or whatever.
No, we are the most diverse.
Are we the most diverse?
Houston is the most diverse city in the world. I mean, in the country.
In the country, right?
It beat out Chicago, it beat out LA, and it beat out
New York.
It beat out New York.
I guess so, so like in our city.
I have to make an addendum though. When they say the most diverse, what they mean is that there's more concentrated people that are from different parts of the world and culture in one specific city. Yeah. Not that there are more of like, there's probably more Puerto Ricans in New York than there are Puerto Ricans here.
But there is Puerto Ricans here.
But when you compare the percentage of Puerto Ricans here comparatively speaking, with every other nationality and group, there's more of everybody here, as opposed to like one specific demographic somewhere else. Does that make sense?
I don't think that I think frequently in Houston you go around and you just see a bunch of people from a bunch of places.
The other addendum is we are the most diverse, but we are the most segregated.
Yes,
which is something that people don't tend to talk about.
People don't talk about that, but we are. We really are. Because
we're the most diverse in terms of like the demographics in the city, but we're also the most segregated and excluded. And I don't mean that in a bad way, even though if you want to interpret it in a bad way, you could. I'm sure there's some examples. I mean that I only say that because it might have just been naturally the way that happened. People gravitate towards the people that are most likely like them. So this is the city where like if you go to Ireland, there is a lot of Jewish people there because they've put together a lot of their community together. You go to certain neighborhoods, right? You know what I'm saying?
So like, if you're like in Ireland area and then you push a little bit further towards Bel Air, but not yet to Bel Air, you get a lot of like Central Americans, right? And so that's where you go to eat like authentic pupusas. That's where you go and eat authentic Honduran food, and like you have like all of these different like restaurants that are not like Mexican, right? And then you keep going down Bel Air and you'll end up in Bel Air in Chinatown where the street signs are literally in Chinese, right? And it's just like same way as like if you come in towards I guess what people consider Little Mexico, it's where we grew up. Really, I didn't really realize that was like a thing, but like all of our street signs are Hispanic names. It's like
not all of them, but there's some big prominent ones. Macario Garcia,
like Macario Garcia, Cesar Chavez, like all of these names, like that are like incorporated into the actual area. It's so big, you can't like Chinatown is still pretty much like it's just this little section of like Houston, right? Our little
and it's more like Asia Town.
It's just Asia Town. Yeah,
it's not necessarily Chinatown.
Because there's a lot of things there, but here in like what the Little Mexico part, it's so big, and it's just so much. But all you see is is like Mexican restaurants. It's like you see things like El Charro, El Tapatillo, and all these things, right? And it's just like all Hispanic, not like, and it's all Mexican for the most part. Like I don't think there's like a Catholic church on every corner. It's like McDonald's over here, like right, like you just got them everywhere, right? So it's like things like that I feel. In Houston specifically, with us being so like diverse, I'm surprised at how Houston still like incorporates Hispanics so much. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Because like Houston might be the most diverse city in the United States, but I kid you not, even people I've met that are not from the United States, because I have a lot of friends who are know a lot of people who are outside of, not even outside of Houston, they're outside of the United States. Like they've come here and they're like, oh, I'm from Korea, Japan, whatever, right? And it's just like, okay. And they come here and they're like, yo, everybody speaks Spanish here.
For real?
Like everybody speaks Spanish here.
That's what I'm saying. And it feels like
us, I feel like Hispanic Heritage Month is kind of like nulled out, because you're like, what do you mean? Like I incorporate Hispanic food and people and everything on a day-to-day basis.
I guess what I'm trying to say, I guess what we're trying to say is good job, Houston, Texas, for making us feel like we are appreciated and represented and thought about on a day-to-day basis, that whenever Hispanic Heritage Month does come around and we actually have to like process it, it doesn't feel like we haven't had the appreciation year round. Yeah. So good job, Houston.
Shout out to Houston.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
And I do think, and I do see where that crossroads happens. Now, I do, for like other generations and just for people who are no longer as tethered to their Hispanic roots as it happens in immigrated countries and in countries where you become an immigrant, right? An example of this, I met a girl who's like fourth generation Indian. That was from
Indian American or Indian?
No, Indian, like India, like from India.
Yeah.
From that, she came from Trinidad and in like the islands.
In Tobago?
In Tobago, yeah. And she came into my job, and I was helping her out. And I was just like, girl, what is you? Like, what are you? Because you don't look, I don't even know what you could look. She's like, no, my great grandparents were brought here as indentured servants to the island. And I'm here. I am not Indian. I'm so far from the culture. I don't even, I look it, right? But I'm not. And I thought about it in like that kind of like concept. I was just like, yo, wait, like,
yo, we got to get to the identity crisis segment onto different nationalities.
I think that would be cool, because she was explaining to me, she was just like, I feel disconnected from the motherland because it's not my motherland. Like, it's not, my motherland is Trinidad and Tobago. Like, that's where I come from. That's me.
But also Trinidad and Tobago pretty as fuck,
It's
bro.
pretty as fuck, though. She was showing me some stuff, and I was just like, damn, girl, why are you here?
Hey, company retreat at Bora Bora.
At Bora Bora.
Hey, talk to him.
But we were like, she was explaining that to me, and I was just like, it did tie into the whole identity crisis thing of it being like, bro, like,
I feel like that's a big conversation. Yeah.
It's a big conversation, because here specifically in Houston, you get a lot of that with Hispanics, with being like, I don't know, I know somebody who looks white as shit and their last name is Hispanic, and I'm just like, yo, where are you from? They're like, I don't know,
Ramirez,
like Martinez, like things like that, and I was just like, okay, like, what's up? And they were like, well, my great grandparents were probably from Mexico. I don't know, but at least
it's your grandfather.
Yeah, like my grandfather's somebody from Mexico, but I don't know. I don't know anything about the culture because I'm not part of it. Like I'm so far from it. And to me, I think is at first, speaking on the whole Hispanic thing, like and then how you feel as a Hispanic kid growing up, right? I felt out when we were younger. I felt like I was like, damn, I'm so unfortunate enough to be so tethered to Mexico that I don't assimilate, and I don't feel like I'm assimilating to the American culture enough, right? And I felt so like, man, like
tug of war.
Like, man, why couldn't we be like second, third generation? Why can't mom and dad speak English? And why is it so like difficult to feel like we are not the kind of Hispanics that people want here, right? Or the ones that are accepted here, right? But as I've grown up, I'm like, damn, first of all, it's a shitty thing to feel as a kid, right? Because it's like, you're so tethered to it, right? But it's so beautiful that you're just like, God damn, right? But now as an adult, I'm like, God, thank you for me being the child that was born here, but is so still tethered to Mexico that I could still like feel it, right? I could still appreciate it. I could still accept it and understand it, because we speak the language. We go and immerse ourselves in the culture. We don't feel weird immersing ourselves in it. Like we just feel like every other Mexican when we're in Mexico, right? We don't feel anything different. I don't feel anything different now, right? Because I've finally been able to understand I'm both Mexican and I'm both American. Yeah. Right. So that conversation, right? That tug of war did happen a lot when I was younger. And it's so crazy to me because there's people who are in that second and third generation, like Mexican Americans, that are like, I wish I was you. I wish I had been you. Yeah. That had that opportunity to be tethered to the motherland like that, but not like, I don't know it. And now I'm just here with the last name, with the looks, with the everything, but I don't know anything about it.
Consider this your public service announcement, people that are probably going through something similar than what Marcela described. Consider this your public service announcement that if you are living in the United States of America, and if you are feeling like you're having that identity crisis, that you are, despite what anybody tells you, whoever tells you, whatever nationality tells you, you are 100% American, and you're also 100% able to appreciate your heritage, roots, and where you come from without dishonoring either or. Your perspective and your perspective, your ethnicity, your roots are valuable, and they contribute to the ever-growing tapestry that is American culture. So keep digging and keep pushing forward.
Yes.
That being said,
we